The European Union is very much involved with many of those projects that we are implementing in the Palestinian territories. I think that what needs to be asked is, what about the other countries that are not sharing the same values with us? What needs to be done in order to bring them to adopt the same values of human rights, rule of law, and democracy? The Hamas to participate, even it was totally against and violating the Oslo Accords that says very clear that no organization that calls for destruction of Israel will be allowed to participate. The outcome was, of course, about 70%, and later on, when the quartet took its decision not to get engaged with the Hamas until they will change their policy, they implement the coup there in Gaza and took control of the southern part of the border of Israel. The same was with the Hezbollah. The Hezbollah, that is a terrorist organization that was first running to the parliament by saying we don't want to take the lead there in Lebanon, but short time after, they are having these days full control of Lebanon, while they are not only terrorist organization with militants. These days they are controlling the army, the security forces, the police, everything that is needed. So what we are trying to do these days is trying to bring the West to realize that what needs to be done is to keep and to strengthen the moderate Arab world and not to weaken them. What needs to be done from now on? While we cannot rely on the West, what needs to be done after we made so much progress toward Israel? We paid with the Israeli currency while we had and still have good relations with Israel, while of course our peoples, some of them, didn't like it, or maybe to move to the other side. To move to the other side, it means to adapt the way of behavior maybe of Syria, that is still keeping its extremism, and the Americans are sending an ambassador only recently. They are engaging with them like Europe. Everyone is running to get engaged with that regime there in Syria. And no one can ask then why Turkey is moving maybe more to Iran than to the West. Because the main battle that we have these days in the Middle East is not between Israel and Europe. Israel and Europe are on the same boat. What we are facing these days is a battle between the West and Iran. Who is going to take control of the Middle East? What would happen maybe if those efforts of the Iranians will be succeeded, then they will succeed to change the types of regimes what they are trying to do so many years. And the Iranians are trying to change them every country after another. Just try to think what would happen in the day after the withdrawal of the American forces from Iraq. So Iran is trying to revive the Persian Empire, as we call, in those two different tracks. On one end, to achieve and to develop a nuclear power. On the other end, to take control of all the Middle East. And that's why it's very important to stop the Iranians and to try to have better dialogue between Israel and Europe. You should understand that it looks, in your view, in the Western eyes, as something that is very important, sometimes in the other side of the world, maybe in the Middle East, it looks and it shows the weakness, maybe, of the West. And if Europe would like to really help Israel and to help our efforts to have a peace treaty with the Palestinians and with the Arab world, adapt and should have more balanced attitude toward the Middle East conflict. Maybe adjusting, not your policy, but your attitude. I think it would be much easier for all of us to get the European in it. The Europeans are already in the quartet, and I was very happy after the statement that was made last Saturday by the quartet about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It was a balanced one. I think that the gestures that Israel have decided upon were very important and helped a lot the quartet to take that decision. And we would like to do everything we can in order to resume the negotiations with the Palestinians. It's not so easy for us, because since we took power, the Palestinians are not willing to have a direct negotiations with us. What is your idea about the right of return? Well, we have heard only Abu Mazen a week ago that said that we prefer to die than to give up about the right of return or about Jerusalem. So what needs to be done from Europe is now to push Abu Mazen, to push Salam Fayyad, to come immediately to get engaged with us once again. While you are doing it with them and with the moderate Arab world, to put a huge pressure on the Iranians. I must tell you that the last sanctions are very, very effective. I think that Israel and Europe, that are sharing many things in common, have to come to the same conclusion. We have to make everything that is possible to keep our unity, the unity of the West, that Israel is the only ally that you can rely on in the Middle East. And if all of us will come to the same conclusion that we would like to help the Arab peoples, we would like to give them freedom, human rights, rule of law, but in the same time, we will do everything to keep the moderate Arab countries in power, I think that finally we will prevail. Thank you very much.